Hello everybody, so welcome to Paco3D.art. I am Paco and we are talking about how to set up a projects and what are projects. Before I go in deep detail, I'm gonna do this in a very quick manner. So let's commence. If you do want to use a zip file, I recommend that you use something like zip.org. This will enable you to unzip any files that I give you for the tutorial, because this lesson is not just about projects or how to set up projects. It's also about commencing with a project that I am giving you. So go here, download this. I recommend that you download this one here that says, this fella here, download this one here, install it. After that, and it will be provided in the description below, go to my patreon.com website. This is the tutorial file, intro to my project setup, and download this little fella here. Once you've downloaded that, I do recommend that you set up a folder somewhere. So I'm just going to delete that very quickly. And a very good shortcut to create new folders. You go Control-Shift-N, call this, put somewhere safe that you know where it is, and you can back it up later, so in your documents or something like that. So this will be the place I will always go, tutorials. And then inside of here, this is where I'm gonna make a new folder, Control-Shift-N again, 00 intro Maya. And this is where we can have all the projects set up. Okay, gonna go back to that place in Patreon, download this fella. And this is where we can just find that location, F for Frank. And let's find tutorials, intro to Maya, and I'm just gonna save it in here. All right. After you download this, this is where you do the unzip. So you might not need to download the zip program, because if you right click this and you got 7-zip and then extract to this location, that might be enough. So click on that, unzip it in there. And this is the next pro tip. You can click here once, copy that address, and then you go in here, file, set project, and you paste that same address that we copied earlier. You paste it in here, and now it's set. Now, it's going to be very hard to know if you did set up the right project until you open a scene up. When you set up a project, it will not give you an indication, oh, cool, so this is the project, whatever. You will only know when you open a scene. So you go Control-O for orangutan, intro Maya movement, open that. And here you have it. You open the scene. And now you may commence to the next lesson if you want, if you don't want to know the reasons why we set up projects. But I will go in deep detail because I am extremely passionate why it is important to set up a project. And it is one of the most common amateur problems that a lot of students that I have, or a lot of juniors. They don't set up projects, they don't follow name conventions. And I'll give you a little bit of a summary on why you should set up a project. What is the structure? What do the different folders do mean? But also examples on how to be organized. So let's move on. And this, from now on, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna ramble. Feel free to move to the next lesson. But here we go. So what is a Maya project? So a Maya project is a collection of folders that are organized in a manner for Maya to understand what to look for. So if we look here, for example, you will find that a lot of the files, if something has to be saved, for example, scenes, right? It will understand, okay, so whenever you want to save a scene or you want to save an image, go to this location. So for example, we've got here If you want to save movies, go to this folder. Or if you want to save any data, you got lots of data things here. Another Maya scenes here. Autosave goes to autosave. So it's essentially information that Maya has to know, okay, where to save things and where to look for things, almost like a default go here to find X or Y or Z. And usually you will find this information within the workspace mail. So if you want to set up a Maya structure and you do not have this file in there, most likely it's not going to work. Or if you delete it, Maya's gonna be like, hang on a second, what is this you're trying to set up here? So it needs that mail file. Yeah. Now, why would you set up a project? What are the benefits? So when it comes to setting up a project, it's all about being tidy and it's all about being organized, because the bulk of the information and the bulk of the 3D models, the animation will be stored within the scenes. However, you might have a lot of different files that have to communicate with each other, and it's all about Maya understanding in what location are these files are, but not just Maya itself. It's also about asset management. So knowing, okay, imagine that you have a wardrobe and you got the socks and you got the underwear and the bras in the same drawer, and then people are like, oh my god, where is everything, right? Instead, you would have a drawer for the socks, a drawer for the underwear, and a drawer for, you know, whatever else you use in the bathroom. It's just about being organized and keeping things tidy, but it's also about collaboration. So there is a high chance that you're going to be working with projects with tons and tons of people, and if you don't know where things are saved, and you just save things wherever you want, then a lot of people are not gonna like you. A lot of people are gonna go, hey, that guy, Frank, man, he is awful. He keeps putting the socks inside of the drawer where the underwear is. He's not cool, you know? And then it's like, there'll be drama and someone in the corner will be eating popcorn, and you don't want that. But yeah, just be tidy and be organized. Now, when it comes to all these different folders, so if we go really quickly in here, right? So by default, Maya will create a series of folders where everything will be saved, right? And each of these folders is essentially where the different types of files will be stored and saved. So just a little bit of a description. The most important ones to pay attention is scenes. So scenes is where you have the most important Maya files. And if I had to choose one folder to keep, and only one will be the scenes. Assets is where you have objects that are used as references and is used in multiple scenes. Because usually a scene, you should consider it as a cutscene, where you might have an animation and then you have a room, then you pick an angle, and it's like a scene shot. And then you might have assets that you bring inside and you use them in multiple cases instead of just remodeling it or just importing it. And then if you have to do any changes, then you have to change the whole thing again. Moving on, we have images. And images is usually when you render something, it will be rendered in that folder. So if you render something with Arnold or RenderMan, which is the Pixars solution, or if you render something with V-Ray, that's where it goes. And it will be saved in an automated way to say, cool, so this is the scene, and this is the cutscene, and this is the time, and yada yada, and then it will save a series of images. However, do not get it confused with source images. There's a massive difference between images and source images. Source images is where you would have the most important textures or references, and it is a good idea to keep them saved in there. Pretty self-explanatory. You have sound, and autosave is where, you know, if you set up correctly, which I will show you in some point, is to make sure that you have your autosave set up, but also your incremental saves. And it's very likely that your Maya scenes will will either, you might save it in the middle of a thunderstorm, or you might save something and then your computer crashes. Happens so many times. And then that Maya scene, you can't open it again, or it's buggy. And then you don't want to lose weeks and weeks of work. So I'll have a massive conversation about that in the future. So I think I've explained very quickly earlier about downloading and unzipping files. So I'm going to skip this altogether. But I just wanted to give a summary on this. However, there is one more thing that I would like to cover, and this is how to set up a new project. So say that instead of you setting up a project, you want to create a new project. Maya will automatically create the mail file, but also the folders for you. And then you can use that as your new scene. So imagine that we are going to make a new office, and you need to make some assets for this asset. You need to make a table and a chair and a cup and maybe a plant and a keyboard and a computer and all these objects. So follow me very quickly. So I'm just gonna do a new scene in here. And this is very easy to get confused. So we're gonna go to, move that away to the side. And we go on File. And these are the two different things here that you need to pay attention. So we've got the project window. So that's the one to make a new project. And set project is like, oh, you already got a project. Let's just tell Maya that this is what you want to use. So if we go open scene now, that's the one that we have set up from the download that we got from Patreon. Yeah, so it's already set up like that. But let's say that we want to make a new office and we want to go, no, we don't want to use that project setup. So you go File, Project Window, and this here where it says New. At the moment, if you click on this button here, it's not going to let you do anything. It is locked by default. So you have to press this New button, which is hidden from the world, and you will never know that is there. And then you press it. And then this is where you click on this folder here. And this is where you could say, cool, I want to make a new folder called LeOffice. Or actually, you don't even need to do that. And I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to delete that for a second. You can select here, which is the root folder. And then inside, and this is kind of confusing at first because you go, wait a second, I don't have to create a folder. You just go one step up. And then here where it says new project, you go your mom. Well, no, LeOffice. LeOffice. And then you press accept. And what we're going to do, so we can see what the hell is happening here. We got this new office, whatever, just delete that. If we go l'accept, we go here and voila. This is where we have now a whole new project done for you. Maya's created that for you because Maya's like so fancy Nancy. And we open that. It has created all the folders already for you automatically, but also has created a workspace. And that's the one that I was telling you earlier. That's what Maya uses in order to understand, ooh, which folder is where do I save this? And yeah, this is where you can have a bit of a twink and a twink and a twonk and see how things are saved. Okay, now we have fini terminado con este subject when it comes to projects, but when it comes to being organized with projects and everything, pay attention. It's very important that you have your projects organized in a way that each project that you do, that it's nothing to do with other projects. It has its own little house. It has its little folder. And then within that house, you should have your pre-production. So this is anything that you do like art, concept art, or drawings. And then you have your production, which is you actually working on that. And then you have, okay, this is done and finished. I'm just giving you these files to the client, or this is like the final image, or this is the final animation. And that's your completed production kind of a thing, or your finished project. Yeah. And just to give you a bit of an example, if I go here with the character, so you see I've got each folder for each character that I've got. And if you go in here, this is where you have your different things. Pre-production is the one that I was talking to you about. So this is where you might have your concept art or your ideas. Let's do another one. There you go. So Doctor Strange, I've got pre-production, progress, production. So pre-production will be like your concept art, right, that you do. So let's yikes. There you go. So this is some concept art that I do as a drawing, right? So I can have the old version of Doctor Strange, which is an idea that I had that I wanted to create to get a job with Flying Back, to do something with Marvel, right? And so you can have it organized in something like this, right? So think about it always in that way, where you can organize things in a very structured way and it makes sense. I'm gonna finalize this video and I will see you in the next video. So we're gonna be talking about navigation, but also selection, and I will see you soon.